Hello everybody and welcome to GCSE Music here at Preston School. Here at Preston we study the OCR specification, which is OCR J536 GCSE Music. The course is very much aimed at musicians and aspiring musicians of all instruments, including voice, producing, DJing, and in our Year 11 cohort at the moment we have a lot of electronic playing instruments such as electric guitars, bass guitars. We also have some really good vocalists. We have piano players. We have lots of different types of musicians, which is fantastic. Your young person's GCSE music is split into two different areas. There is the non-examined assessment, which to you and me is coursework, and that is 60% of the grade. Then there is a 40% listening exam at the end of the course, which this current academic year is going to be on Wednesday, the 14th of June. It's one of the last exams of the season, but that means we get lots of time to revise and do some listening examples and lessons. Over the course, the students have studied 15 different genres of music, which I will talk about later on in the PowerPoint. So here is the course overview. On the left-hand side, the left-hand column there, that's everything that your young person needs to do to get a full GCSE in music. The first two boxes where it says performance on the learner's chosen instrument, that is the solo performance. So the young person playing the music by themselves or with a backing or with a live accompaniment. And the composition to a brief set by the learner, that is the Year 10 composition. Some young people in our year group are currently still handing in that at the moment, but hopefully that is going to be handed in really soon. In the next box down it says ensemble performance, so that is group performance, so with another living, breathing human being playing the music at the same time. And thank you to all of the external people that have come in for those performances as well. I know there have been some parents this year, we've had some friends from other schools, and we have had people from other classes, other year groups. So thank you very much to all of them. The last one on there is composition to an OCR set brief. So in September of this academic year, OCR sent us a brief and the students are taking one of those options and they are composing a piece of music. There's some really lovely compositions going on in the class and we need to have that handed in just before the Easter holidays. The last point on there, so the last box on the left-hand side says listening and appraising. So this is a listening paper, the one exam, which is worth 40% of the exam. So all of those genres that we have learnt about, the young people will go into the exam and they will have 8 of those. And they will answer questions based on the music that they heard. There are no set works in OCR. It's one of the reasons why it really suits our young people. So the likelihood is that the young person might not have heard that piece of music before, but it will be in a style that they have learnt about, so they will be able to answer the questions. We have learnt and listened to an awful lot of music over the 2 years that we've been studying GCSE music, so they may well recognise some of it in the exam as well, which is normally great fun. The performances and compositions need to be sent to the external moderator by the 14th of May. So by that time, the work needs to be handed in, it needs to be marked, it needs to be moderated by another head of music at another school. It needs to come back to the young people for any tweaking, any changes, any edits, any improvements, and then it needs to go to the moderator. So we are at the time now where we need to be handing in all of that learning. If your young person still has any learning outstanding, please ask them to pop and see me, and we can get some after school intervention in, because the more we have to hand in and send away to the moderator, the more marks we're going to have going into the exam. It is critically important that we have as much of that learning, all the learning, in by the Easter holidays, so that we can get the best marks we can going into the exam in June. So the exam is 40% and there are 8 questions. There are lots of sub-questions within that. I've put some examples here. So there are lots of 1-mark questions in the exam. And this one here happens to say, name the pitched percussion instrument heard in the extract. So this was a piece of film music and the students needed to pick out the percussion instrument that was playing the music. Then says, give 2 features of the music that the instrument plays, which helps create the scene. So it was a piece of film music. So how has that music enhanced what would be the visual? We then have 4 or 5-mark questions, and this is very typical here. So give 5 features of the music that are typical of this style. So that's when we bring in our key features learning. So for every genre we learn, we look at key features, and it's those that are the answers to those questions there. So they can be 3 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks, and they can be spread throughout the exam. There is one prose question, and that is question 3 in the exam. And this one that I've put on the slide here happens to be about concerto grosso, but it could be taken from any of the areas of study. It does usually give the key features that it would like the young people to answer on. So in this case, instruments, rhythm, melody, accompaniment, and articulation and dynamics. So the young person uses a notes page next door to this particular page in the exam, makes their notes, and then goes ahead and writes the prose. The prose question is worth around about 9 marks, 8 marks, which is 10% of the paper. But this style of writing is very, very typical of other curriculum subjects. So it is a type of question that the young people do have a lot of experience of answering. The majority of the paper is as it is on the other side of the slide, with 1 markers, 2 markers, 3 markers, etc. But this one prose question in the exam does require the young people to write in that prose style. As far as revision goes for our lovely students, they have their class workbooks which have all of the genres in, and they have a big pack of knowledge organisers as well, and that's courtesy of Musical Contexts. So on the screen now, the OCR Revision Guide CGP, and those are available to purchase from school, £7.50. Quite a few students have those already. They've got a purple cover and they have a disc with them. If you have one of the newer versions, it has an access code to all of the sound bites that are needed for the listening questions. That's a really good revision guide. It's got some listening questions in there as well, so you can have a go with those. You can even write into the book itself. I really do value that revision guide. Musical Contexts, I have bought us a subscription to that, and the young people have work packs. So they have a full work pack for each of the areas of study, and they then have an empty one that they fill out with all of the information. So they learn it from one, and how they learn it then goes into the other one. So they're currently still in school at the moment because we use those in revision lessons, but they will eventually be going home, and you can have those as well. BBC Bite Size is really, really good, and has lots of different areas of study and quizzes that go with those. So you read the information and then you have a go at a quiz. I have set a few of those as homeworks because they also have quite a lot about timbres and tempo and instruments of the orchestra and lots of other generic musical things rather than just the areas of study. So wholly recommend going on to BBC Bitesize as well. There is another revision guide that's come out quite recently from Rheingold. We don't have any of those in school, but they are available to purchase from Rheingold and they're £9.99. Make sure you get the OCR revision guide. That's very, very comprehensive. There are more diagrams in there, pictures. There's a lot more contextual history in there. So that is quite a good revision guide. We have one copy in school, but we don't have very many at all. We just have that one. So please do feel free to go in and order one from Rheingold, and they will only enhance the revision of the young people. So just to recap then, we need the solo performance, the learner-led composition, the ensemble performance and the OCR set brief composition in by the Easter holidays for marking. The solo performance recording and the ensemble performance recording, they need to have with them the music that the student has played. So either their part of the music, that can be as music notation, or it can be as a lead sheet, it can be as tab, however that young person reads that, and that needs to be handed in their portfolio. The learner-led composition, I need to have the score of that, so we need to press print from Logic, or the young person needs to have written that out. And the same with the OCR set brief composition, which we are finishing right now in lessons. That is 60% of the grade, and that mark is given to the young people before they go into the exam. Not just before, but the young people will know what the result is before they go into the exam. Then we have the listening exam, which is on Wednesday, the 14th of June, 2023. And that is 8 of our genres from our 15 that we have learnt over the GCSE music course. And the young people will answer the questions. The young people have already done a Year 10 exam, a Mock 1 and a Mock 2. So they have sat 3 of these listening exams already. So very much they know what they're expecting. But we will have lots and lots of revision time before we go ahead to that exam. If you have any questions, please do email me. My email is on the global address on the website. Or students, if you have any questions, please do pop and see me. Thank you for listening.